up, YouTube? I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to get a little grown up on y'all and teach y'all about credit. When Jay-Z said credit is important, it's important, and it's better that you know what you're doing than to have somebody else taking advantage of you, because that's what a lot of creditors do nowadays. They take advantage, especially of young people, because they think we don't know what we're doing, and when we come into money, we just spend it and go crazy, which is true, but I'm here to help you. So this is how I achieved a 723 credit score at only 19. I'm dead serious. I have always been obsessed with being independent, being on my own, and not really asking a lot of people for stuff, even though, like, my mom, I'll ask her for stuff. But when I was about 16, 17, around that age, I started doing my research on credit, and I knew that a lot of things I couldn't do because I wasn't 18, and you cannot check a minor's credit score. I mean, you can, but it won't be held against them until they are 18, because you are entering a legal contract per se with a minor. You can't do that. And so I asked my mom to become an authorized user on her credit card. Now what this means is I got my own credit card. It's a different number. However, it is linked up to her main card. Legally, she's responsible for all the purchases on the card. But when she pays the card, don't matter if I spent something on it or she made a purchase, it goes on both of our credit. That is how I first got my taste of credit. She made me responsible because I would have to pay her back for the purchases that I made with the card. And sometimes I would even give her a little extra money because she didn't have to do that. And so, although I was 16 or 17 years old, I still did not have credit yet. But the credit bureaus knew my name, and they were getting reports about on-time payment and low use of debt every month, that it was paid on time and that it was kept at a good percentage, about no more than 50% of the card used. And I believe the card she made me a user on was a $500 Capital One card. So I made sure that the card didn't go to $450 or really close to $500, because they look at that as you don't know how to spend responsibly and pay responsibly. So that's tip number one. Start early. Do your research. Find someone that will allow you to be an authorized user, or just start saving up money and keeping your eye out for good credit cards or good accounts that you can open up that really have your best interests at heart, and wait until you turn 18. The second thing I did was become familiar with the 3 credit bureaus. You need to know them because they know you. You have Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Through my experience, I've seen that most credit people report to TransUnion. TransUnion is going to be the one that has everything. Now, everyone doesn't report to the other two, so that is why you have 3 different credit scores, yet they are within the same couple of numbers of each other. So you might have one that's 640, one that's 645, one that's 648. They're all different because they are all told different information relatively. And so my highest score has always TransUnion. So TransUnion, I have a 743. And also, you need to become familiar of what impacts your credit. When you get it, you need to know, how do they calculate this? They use a scoring system called FICO score. And basically, it's a long explanation that only they know of, how they take different accounts and mathematically calculate it. But all you need to know are these 6 categories. One is credit age. How long have you had credit? How long have you had a certain account? When you have accounts in good standing for a good amount of years, then you have better credit. You have a better history of, okay, I see this person is responsible. I see this person can pay back what they have spent, other than someone who just started out and has 2 years of credit. That's their longest credit card. So 2 years versus 10 years. That 10-year person, if they keep their account in good standing, their credit score is likely higher. Now, vice versa, you can have somebody with a credit card open for 10 years, but it's inconsistent. They pay when they want to, they run up the card, all that kind of craziness. And then you have someone who's had a credit card for 2 years, pays on time, pays more than the minimum, and they don't spend more than about 30 to 40% of the whole card. Their credit score is going to look better than the other person's. So different factors determine your credit score. The second thing is credit usage, which brings me back to not spending a high amount on your card. If your card limit is $1,000, that doesn't mean go spend $995. I'm guilty of that. I've done that before. They want you to use it responsibly. So if you know that you are not going to pay off that amount in a good amount of time, don't do that to yourself. I'd rather spend $300 on a $1,000 card and pay that off quickly within 2.5 months than to use $995 of $1,000 and take forever to pay it off, because that requires interest. Oh yeah, and if you have a high APR, they are making money off of you. You get a finance charge here, finance charge there, finance charge there, and it builds up. So spend responsibly, and do not have a good rule of thumb is to use about 30 to 40% of your card. 50% is pushing it, but if you can afford it, go for it. Another thing, on-time payments, which is what I also mentioned earlier. Pay your accounts on time. It matters. If you are a person who keeps paying it late, and then on top of that you're paying the minimum, you're not going to look good to future creditors. You're just not. Number of inquiries. Number 4. This is when you apply for a credit card and they run your credit score. They run your credit. And you get a hard inquiry because they are going and physically pulling your credit. Some companies offer soft inquiries where they just can pull it, but it won't show up on your credit score. But 9 times out of 10, it's a hard inquiry. And if you say on Monday you go apply for a Best Buy card, if they pull your credit, then the next day you go to Sears and they pull your credit. Next day they pull your credit. Next day they pull your credit. 5 days. That's 5 inquiries within 1 week, and it doesn't look good. Hard inquiries, try to keep them as low as you can. Yes, I know you need to get your credit pulled to get that card you want or get that loan you want, but pace yourself. It's okay to do maybe 1 or 2 in a couple of months and wait a couple more months for it to fall off. Generally, rule of thumb, they stay on your credit for 2 years, 24 months. So try to space it out as much as you can. Another thing they look at is available credit. Out of all of the accounts that you have, across all of them, we're adding up how much that you can spend on it. How much do you have available to spend on it right now? Say I have a $2,000 card and a $3,000 card. Together, that is $5,000 of my total credit. So out of that total $5,000, how much do I have to spend? I could have $1,000 out of $5,000 to spend. That means I have spent $4,000 of my total credit, which does not look good. You want to keep it low. So $2,500 out of that $5,000 looks better than just having $1,000 to spend. So that brings me back to just pay off. Just keep paying. Pay more than the minimum. Pay. Another thing they look at is total amount of accounts, which kind of can seem contradictory if you're not able to open a lot of accounts in a short amount of time because you don't want a lot of inquiries. But it's cool, especially if you're young. You have time to build credit. Just rock with your nice little 2 or 3 accounts that you have right now and pay those off and build a good consumer relationship with those companies. And then 2 years down the road, when those inquiries fall off, apply for another card. Pace yourself. It is not a race. The key to building credit is to have a long portfolio of good credit. You're not going to get that within 2 years. You're not going to get that within 3 years. It takes 15 to 30 years to pay off a house, which also goes on your credit. So just pace yourself, Build long life good credit by keeping good habits. This goes back to your spending. Spend wisely. A lot of apps that I use to help me to keep up with my everyday spending, or just keep an eye on my credit without constantly looking at my credit or trying to get it pulled, because that can hurt you too. I use Credit Karma. When they say it is free, it is absolutely free. Seriously. No BS. It's free. You can go on the website or you can download the app, create an account, and you are able to look at 2 of the credit bureaus. Now, to look at the third one, I use credit.it, and it's an app also. And you can also use the website. So I can look at all 3 of my credit bureaus. I can look at my credit history. I can look at things that might be on my credit, my accounts, how they stack up to each other, my on-time payments. Now, one misconception that people believe is that, oh, Credit Karma, they don't use the same scoring as the credit bureaus, which is FICO scoring. And my credit score is not going to be the same as what the credit bureaus see. This is true and false. The way that Credit Karma and a lot of other free credit checking apps use is a Vantage scoring model. Again, that is a long mathematical explanation of how they calculate that, but that is the method that they use. And so your credit score can vary a little bit, but as what I've seen, is 2 to 3 points. So if I have a 700 with the FICO scoring, then I have around a 688 to a 705 with Credit Karma or Credit.it. And that's a good place tracker. Like, you can tell, okay, I'm doing good, let me get into this range, I want to get into the 720 range. You know, you're not there yet, so in a way it helps you and keeps you afloat. It's not going to tell you that you have a 400 credit score and you have a 700. It's not that big of a gap. It's within a couple of numbers, just as if TransUnion is different from Equifax. It's that kind of difference. And also, I know this because I use Capital One as my credit company. I have a credit card with them. And so when I sign in on the app, they have this little button, little rectangle at the end of the page, CreditWise. CreditWise uses the same scoring as the credit bureaus. So it's my same exact score. So when I check that score, and it's a TransUnion score, and then I go to my Credit Karma app, they're like 1-2 points away. Also, a lot of people use Credit Karma because it helps you to look at your accounts, make sure you have no collections, because collections are bad. Then you have to go pay them off, because that's like a negative mark on your account. You do not want collections. Keep them at 0 at all costs. At all costs. So, another website that I use is NerdWallet. This is how I get that little help when it comes to choosing a new account that I might want, especially credit cards, and sometimes it compares loans for you. I found that it is really good to do your research on credit cards before you go and apply for one, because a lot of them will cater to people in certain ranges of credit. What is considered poor credit, what is considered great credit, fair credit. Fair credit is around the mid 60s to high 60s. No, mid 600s to high 600s. 60s. Where am I at today? Poor credit is anything from the lowest, which is what I've seen, 350 to about like 500. 700 to about 750 is good. No, the lowest score you can get to about 550 is poor. 550 to 699 is fair. 700, 750 is great, good, and the best is 750 and up. But it all depends on the credit card, the numbers and the ranges. They determine that, because they're giving out their money. And what I found, that NerdWallet gives you that, oh, they accept any type of credit hint. So it's going to tell me, based on your credit score, you should go with this card with other than this card, because this card is known to have people who have no credit or have poor credit or any credit. This one, they want people who have 700s because they're giving out all these type of benefits. So I'm going to go with this card because I know once I get that inquiry, it's going to be worth it because I have a higher chance of getting this card than the card that is way above what my credit score is. Another thing that I had to learn the hard way because I'm not perfect, your score will go up and down. It is like weight. It will go up and down. You might have a 650 one day, 660 when you check it the next 2 months. It goes up and down because you have to think about it. There's influxes in the way that you pay your cards. You might have $100 that you need to pay in your card 1 month. You pay that. Next thing you know, you made another purchase that might be a big purchase, and then your score is going to go down. Then when you pay off a lot of cards, your score is going to go up. So just keep paying. Just keep paying. Do not take out more than what you think that you can afford. And I even had that type of trouble before. I had a Capital One card, and it was a student card, which is so ironic. They know that students, when you give them a large amount of credit, they're going to go crazy. I went crazy because as soon as I turned 18, my credit score was already good because I knew what I was doing. I knew what to apply for. That was the first credit card that I applied for, my Capital One Journey card. And when I got accepted, which was about 10 days, I got discouraged because I thought I wasn't going to get it. I looked at my email and they told me I was getting $1,000 credit limit. $1,000 to a little girl like me who was about to go to college. I was ecstatic. $1,000. I did good starting out. I didn't spend more than $300. On one occasion, I got it up to about $500. But other than that, no. But when I got into college, and you know, your parents are farther away, and a lot of emergencies and non-emergencies popped up, like the new iPhone, I had to pay my taxes on it. And so I crept up to about $1,421. This was after they upped my credit allowance to $1,500, up from the $1,000, because for 6 months I paid on time, I was in good standing, and they gave me $500 more. And the highest I had on that card was $1,421, $1,421 and some change that I kept trying to pay on. But then other things came up and I had to keep using it. So what I had to end up doing was take out a personal loan and use that money to pay off that card and another card that I had high, which wasn't that bad because that card limit was $2,000. I used it to buy my MacBook, and the highest I had on it was, of course, $1,500, how much the MacBook was plus Apple Care. You don't buy Apple products without Apple Care, ever. And I paid it down to about $995, and it kept teeter-tottering between 900 or something and 1,050, and I just was like, forget this, I'm going to take out a personal loan. Yes, it'll be inquiry, but since a loan is in good standing, it's going to look better than having high credit cards, because some loans, they're like have special terms on them. Like mine's is high APR on it, which is the amount that I'm paying the bank for allowing me to use their money, which is weird. But the loan is in good standing. My credit cards are essentially paid off. That means I have a bigger total of credit to be able to use, which looks good. So my score was teeter-tottering on that 690, 700 line until I got that personal loan, and it went back up to when I first got my credit card. So pace yourself. Don't be tempted. Yes, it's nice to have a large limit, but that doesn't mean spend all of it and then some, because at the end of the day, you do have to pay it back. But credit is a good thing, it's a bad thing, all in one. It's a paradox, all that. But it's important. When you want to go buy that car, they're going to pull your credit. And that's how they take advantage of you. When you have bad credit or no credit, you end up paying more. It's important. When you want that house when you're about 40, 30, 40, they're going to look at your credit. So all in all, spend responsibly. Research. Don't take everything I say as the Bible. Do your own research. Find out what works for you, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to be there when you're applying for stuff. What works for you probably didn't work for me. Find out what's best for you. Spend responsibly and save. Don't just think, oh, life is just about having credit cards. Save your money, because everything is not worth putting on a credit card. And it feels good to save up and to go and buy something with your money instead of using the bank's money and giving them that satisfaction. So that's all I have for you guys today. Check me out next week with 2 brand new videos. Subscribe, like, and share, and follow my Instagram and my Twitter. Link is in the description below.